There we go.
Awesome.
I have a question. Will you guys be recording it as well, and would you be able to send it as a PDF if I can't record?
Yes, so we'll upload this probably onto our website, but we'll figure out how. We'll send it to definitely all the participants. If it turns out really good, then it'll be on the website.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, well, I'm Victoria. I'm the Director of Operations for Dermadality, and this is Miss Kelsey Cameron. She's one of the partners. She's COO and VP of Education.
Nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet
This
you.
is our first Zoom training of the year, so we're hoping it goes really great. This is just going to be kind of like a brief overview of our line. So we're going to kind of touch on every aspect. But this is a kickoff to our advanced series. So we offer 3 advanced classes right now, class 1, 2, and 3. Class 1 is really a deep dive into the preconditioning, the science behind why we do what we do, how to treat all Fitzpatricks. We go into all of our home care, and it's a really, really great class. And it is probably, I'd say, the most important class, because in our line, if you understand how to precondition the skin, then you're set to go with any deep peel treatment, any other ablative modality, whatever in-office treatment you want, with very little risk of anything, hyperpigmentation, scarring, etc. So this is really what we preach in this line. So that's class 1. Class 2 is all about acne, the different grades, and how to effectively treat it with our line. And then class 3 is going to be about really aging skin, hyperpigmentation, sun damage, of course, and then our TCA resurfacing peels. So kind of go in the chronological order like that. And so if you like what you see here, then make sure to register for those classes. The dates are to be determined, so stay tuned, but we'll have all that information on our website. So I see that there's already 4 comments in the chat section. We're going to go ahead and keep an eye on that. The questions, and we'll make sure to take breaks and answer everything. So if you can, just put your questions in the chat section. But if we're not seeing your question,
I can be on that. Just all good mornings.
Okay. Yeah. And then Kelsey will keep an eye on that. And then, feel free to interrupt us if you want, but we will ask that everyone put their mute button on, just so for recording purposes, we don't pick up any extra noise.
Just make sure to.
What was that? So yeah, with that said, I'm sorry if my dogs bark. If there's even somebody walking down the street, then they're going to start barking, but I'll mute myself. All right. So let's get started. So Kelsey, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? And like I said, she's one of the partners. She's a brilliant mind. They own a very successful med spa in Colorado Springs. And so tell us about that and why you decided to buy into the line.
Absolutely. Thank you, Victoria. So I was introduced to, well, I actually, my business is really in the med spa business, and running business operations and teams in medical spas. So my partner here in Colorado Springs is Dr. Matthew Dunham. He's the CEO and medical director of Dermadality as well. And I joined with him several years ago, running his med spa, where we perform skin tightening, more non-invasive and minimal invasive procedures for face, body, liposuction, injectables, as well as chemical peels and, muscle building, just kind of everything from head to toe. That's what we do at this office. And of course, every med spa does need to have a skincare line. So back in late 2019, I was looking for really like a unicorn skincare line, so to speak, that would yield results, be affordable to, the everyday person, so to speak, and be a combination of in-office treatments and home care. And, I have a background in sales as well, with, lots and lots of different skincare lines, and being rep for skincare lines, both, cosmetic and professional strength. So had been around the block and played with a few lines and we're fine, but I really wanted something just a bit more. So I had a friend who from Las Vegas, actually, who I'd worked with in another company that had told me about Dermadality. And she said, trust me, I know you haven't heard of it before, but it is actually fantastic. And they have a great, home care line. Plus they do in-office peels and they've got this pumpkin thing that's amazing. So long story short, I did end up reaching out. And prior to Dr. Dunn and I joining him with Tony, his partner was Melissa Freeman of Denver, Colorado. And that's who I had ended up reaching out to, who had Dermadality. And I had a rep come out, Judy. She came out and trained my team. And I had she gave me some samples that lasted me about 2 weeks. And I was more than impressed just with my own skin. So then when she came out, did an in-office, pumpkin peel treatment with Mandelic. On one of us in my office, I was just blown away at how just after one treatment and a couple of weeks of the skincare that how effective it was. And then when I looked at the cost of the actual product for the consumer, as well as the the esthetician or the office buying this line, I was even more impressed. No minimum buy-in, such highly quality active ingredients that perform so well, but don't also cost an arm and a leg and can also be done safely. I was pretty impressed. And then I got to know Tony, and during COVID, especially, he and I got very close and started working very closely together. And then I started educating for Dermadality just because I was very passionate about it. So I did that on the side of Springs Body Sculpting. And then, it turns out that Dr. Dunn and I were able to work something out with to take over the partnership Tony had with Melissa and make it the three of us. So this past year, we have been, working on kind of revamping a lot of the stuff on the back end there so that we can really get Dermadality, up in front, really where it belongs with some of the other high competitors, just because this is just such a high quality line. The people that do know it very well speak very highly, just that it just yields very, very quick and effective results. So
Yeah.
that is why I love it. That's why we bought into it.
Says so much too, coming from, like a med spa. You guys are in that industry where you need those like medical grade products.
Yeah.
After trying all the lines, this is the one you ended up with. I mean, that's what everyone says. It's just those quick and immediate results. I think I'm hearing people trying to sign in. Are there more people?
Yes. Let's see. No, I don't. You're going to laugh. So IT is not my specialty. I'm smart in other ways. I don't know how to turn off the little dings. That's my emails going off.
Oh. Sorry. Okay.
Like, those are my email dings. I've tried.
So yes. And then, so she mentioned Tony, and I'm not sure exactly. I know that there are some people who are familiar with this line on this Zoom, but I think there's a couple people who aren't. So we'll speak to those who are brand new. So Tony Vogel is the founder, creator, the formulator for the line. He would be on the Zoom too, but he's in San Marcos right now, helping out with a live training. Right now we do live classes at our training facility in San Marcos, and we will be expanding those to probably Vegas first, and then Colorado Springs, and then going from there. But yeah, he's really great, and he really did a good job at creating this line. And so I am the director of operations. I found Dermadality when I was actually in school, 2016. And I had no idea what I was doing in school. I just knew I didn't want to be a bartender in Vegas anymore. So I went to aesthetic school. I'd always had a passion for beauty and all that, but it was in school that I fell in love with corrective skincare because of Dermadality. He came in and offered these advanced trainings and brought his products. And so we got to try them, and like, same as Kelsey saying, I did a peel. I started using some of the home care, and I noticed changes immediately in my skin. And I had struggled for a really long time with premature aging and some sun damage, because I grew up on the beach in California, out on the beach all the time through the 90s. And so I had a lot of sun damage, and I was looking like 35 at 21. So not good. But these products worked for me and all of my SD besties in my school. And then, so I was like, adopt me, let me come into this line, let me help you guys, and kind of just grew a role from there. So there's definitely a lot of passion for all of us who work in this line, just because we see, you know, the proof's in the pudding, they say, with this line. So with that said, let's get started. So Dermadality. Oh, let's get started if we can. I wanted to start here by just showing you guys some befores and afters. I think it's super powerful to kind of start here, just to get excited about what's possible. So these are all the couple pictures I'm about to show you are from some of our some of our big retailing estheticians. They have bought into the whole line. They use pretty much solely Dermadality products. They have all of their clients on the retail. This picture is just 2 months in between. You can see the before and the after. You can see here, there is a ton of pigment. It looks like, you know, some melasma here around the chin. This is significantly lightened up, and she only did 2, I think, of the base 1 peels, and we'll get into what all that means here soon. And she had a client on, I think, the HQ Lightening Gel and the Vitamin A Intense. So this is incredible. This is so powerful to me. And you can see too, she's, oh gosh, sorry guys. She is probably a Fitz 4, I'd say. So, you know, that's an exciting aspect of our line, is that you can really work on all Fitzpatricks. And that's what this line gives you. It gives you the ability to do that, is to work on 4s, 5s, 6s safely and effectively, and get those amazing results that they want to, but so many professionals shy away from just because of the risk, all the risk there with hyperpigmentation and everything else. So these are just our base 1 peels with combination with home care. This is from one of our awesome customers, Skincare by Candace. You can find her on Instagram and see a lot of her before and afters. This right here is what, like I say, is the Dermadality glow. This, we say we tell people that are using the line and they have this awesome glowing skin. You've got the Dermadality glow. This is so obvious right here. Look at the texture change in her skin. Candace always, now I'm going to forget what she calls it, but she has this combination of 3 serums, the vitamin C intense, the vitamin A intense, and the HQ lightening gel. And she requires all of her clients to be on those preconditioning targeted treatment serums. And this is, I think, 2 in-office treatments. I mean, the results right there are just phenomenal. Here's another one from her. This one is, again, just a couple treatments. You can see a ton of texture change there. The pigment, she's got the modality glow over here. And this is from another one of our talented SDs. She's also on our Instagram, Diane Nastasi. This is, she performed a TCA here. So we've got the before, the during, and the after. And I mean, gosh, just look at that. She also had her on the home care too. She started her out with the preconditioning peels, our base 1 peels, and then she worked her safely up to the base 2 TCA peels. So amazing. So as Dermadality, we are a professional line. We do not sell direct to the consumer. We do that because we want to help you build your business. There's nothing worse than giving an awesome in-office treatment and then trying to sell your products and your customer pulling it up on Amazon. Like, no, I can find this $10 cheaper here. I can go to Sephora or Ulta and buy it there. And, you know, they undercut you. So we do not want to do that. And I'm sure that was a selling point for you too, Kelsey, right?
Oh yeah. With all of it. The corrective, we're updating a lot of our verbiage there, but the corrective, it's corrective and maintenance correction, really. You know, you have the corrective active ingredients in there that are going to really correct all of the skin conditions that we have, such as like rosacea, acne, you know, aging. A lot of them can be overlapping treatment protocols. And then you have your maintenance, you know, that's where you kind of adjust things according to how your skin's responding. You know, there's not one size fits all approach for everything, but because, yeah, it's customizable. And while the products are also, they work in the symbiosis, meaning they work in synergy with each other. So the more, you know, correlating ingredients are brought together with high enough actives, the more symbiosis of an effect they have of like really just kind of building off of each other. But even when you start with just one treatment serum in any line, like that's the other thing, you notice a huge difference even with just starting with one.
Yes, yes.
And really quickly, Victoria, that protocol that protocol that esthetician used for that, I think that second photo, we can post that. Yes, we can send that to our attendees.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. So we're a professional line. If anybody calls to order from us, it's just a consumer. We will not sell to them. In fact, we've recently created a spa retail finder that's available on our website. So I answer the phones right now for Dermadality, and a lot of people call and are wanting to try the product line. And so I was trying to before go into our system and try to find somebody near them. And obviously that's super time consuming. So now we have our spa retail finder, and you can actually sign your business up to this so that people can find you easily. They'll just go and type in their zip code, and whoever's closest in the closest proximity to where they're located can either go in and get a treatment or buy some of the product from you. So that's kind of cool. Again, we are all about helping you build your business. We want you to be successful. Your success is our success. We have a couple award-winning products. One of them is our C Vitality Peel. This is one of our base 1 alpha hydroxy hybrid peels. This was voted best peel of the year by Dermascope, I think 2 years in a row. It's amazing. And we'll kind of dive into that peel a little bit too. And of course, the pumpkin peel is the favorite. Really quick, I'll give you a little backstory too on how Dermadality was founded. So Tony Vogel, he has been in the industry for a long time. He helped Aveda when Aveda was a baby company. He was in there in that kind of beginning phase of there. And in the 80s and 90s, when he says it was the rise of the esthetician. So he has seen a lot. He's seen a lot of the growth. And it was in that time though, back then, that he saw the opportunity for Dermadality to be born. So back then, these estheticians were obviously alpha hydroxys have been around for a very long time. Cleopatra used to bathe in milk, they said, to lighten her skin with the lactic acid. But as far as the esthetician, they're just relatively new. And so when they first started, they were using these high concentrations of acids, like 60% glycolic, TCAs in high concentrations. And he said that the phrase was like no pain, no gain. If it doesn't burn, then then you didn't do it right. And so what a flawed way of looking at everything, right? Because chemical peels got a bad rap back then because of all the burning and everything else and all the adverse reactions. So he saw the need for an intermediate peel, something that was going to get the job done, but it wasn't going to be too aggressive, that any skin tone could use safely. And while we didn't actually create the pumpkin peel, he partnered with a company that did and was their sole rep for it, and started going around and promoting the pumpkin peel. People still love it. It's probably one of the favorite products in the line. But then he saw the opportunity to create the rest of the back bar. So then he started with our hybrid AHA peels. The C Vitality would be one of those. We'll get into the rest here shortly. But these peels are, again, they're not aggressive, but they have a cumulative effect. And so if a Fitzpatrick 5 or 6 comes into my office, I can do these peels safely and effectively. And this is the start of our preconditioning process. So the estheticians, they loved it. They latched on. And then he saw he needed to create a retail line to kind of sustain those results he was getting. And that's kind of how Dermadality was born. But he'll tell you stories if you ever meet him, which I'm sure he'll be on some of these trainings here soon. He'll tell you the horror stories of what it used to be like. And so now we know a lot more, obviously, technology and everything has progressed. And so we don't want to burn the skin. We want to take it slow. And in fact, that kind of leads in here to this. When you think about Dermadality, you think about it as a system. And one thing, if you use our whole line together, you're going to get the best results. You can definitely pick and choose things here and there, and it's going to be great. But think of it as a whole. And really it starts with our preconditioning process. And Kelsey, if you want to explain this runner analogy, her partner, Matt Dunham, came up with this, and I love it. And I tell people all the time, because this is essentially who we are.
So yeah, it's very, our whole line really takes the approach of being progressive as far as corrective treatment instead of aggressive, so that you can actually, the healthier your skin is, and the more we can get your skin to an overall balanced health, the better it's going to then respond to the corrective treatments, as well as training itself to stimulate its own growth factors again, and produce natural the components in our systems that we're actually biologically to produce for overall skin health. So the runner analogy really is a marathon versus a sprint, right? If you just decide to run a marathon or a half marathon when you've never even like run around the block or walk to the mailbox, then you're gonna not only just be really winded and tired, you can break your ankle, you can tear ligaments. I have experienced it myself. I had lots of friends and family that have experienced it, where I think I'm gonna run a marathon today. They don't have the right shoes, they don't have the right equipment, they don't even know how to run properly without getting severe joint pain, back pain, compression. And again, podiatrists love it when non-experienced marathon runners come in, because they have a lot of surgeries for repairs. And so that is where, if you do the same thing with your skin, if you just, annihilate the top part of your skin, and then your melanocytes underneath are starting to go wacko bananas and overproducing pigment, or starting to cause all of these extra problems to occur, really, scarring, and just kind of freaking out your skin, then it's really pretty counterproductive. So you want to train slowly your skin to be able to adapt to higher concentrations of active ingredients, and to keep itself nice and balanced, and keep it nice and evenly progressing, so that when it does start to receive more intensive corrective treatments, the skin is going to respond more positively. And it also, for the esthetician, it's going to help you as well know that you have a more controlled environment and a more predictable result to expect, instead of just hoping and praying, seeing 3 days later what phone call you're going to get. It's like that too at our med spa. We screen people medically for things quite a bit, so that we can set people's expectations on, this is what you can expect. The healthier your skin is, the better corrective treatment is going to do for you, right? The healthier your body is, the better it's going to respond to certain treatments. It's just, so with running, you want to make sure that skin is nice and prepped and primed before you go and put, heavy duty corrective treatment on it. Home care and base one treatment protocols in office is going to be the best way to ensure predictable outcomes.
Absolutely. Yes. Very well said. And that is kind of who we are. We want you to have complete control. Like Kelsey's saying, there's nothing worse than like slapping some acid on a face and hoping for the best, especially when you're treating those darker Fitzpatricks, just because of all the risk of all the adverse effects. So we've found that this process it's the way to go. And when you utilize our preconditioning peels, and these are by no means weak peels at all, you're utilizing these peels along with our corrective targeted treatment serums, you can achieve deep peel results. And so what we find is that oftentimes estheticians don't even have to go down that route to those more aggressive peels. You can do so much with the skin, and you start to see so much change just in texture and pigment and wrinkle reduction and all the things. And so it's just better, and your client trusts you, and then they can go about their lives. I mean, we all live busy lives right now. It just seems like the world is so crazy and so fast moving that to be looking like Hannibal Lecter for a week is
Not what we're going for,
right? Peeling off your face, is just not ideal. So while those treatments are important and they're very necessary for a lot of people, they're not necessary for everybody. But we give options for everything. So So yeah, and that kind of also leads into the topic of our line being customizable. Not only can you, like Kelsey was saying, our products, our home care products have symbiosis with each other, so you can blend them, create specialized cocktails. We'll get into our vitamin A, our retinol basis here soon. But if retinol is because ours is so active, if it's too much tolerate this for the skin for some of your clients, you can cocktail it with other targeted treatment serums to kind of tone it down without losing efficacy. So that's really important and something really unique about our line. When it comes to the peels, you can do multiple layers. We have retinol boosters that you can send your client home with. So, and our prescription mask system, which we'll get into, and every aspect of the Dermadality line, you have the ability to customize and make make treatments for your client specific for their needs that day. At Dermadality, we look at the skin as a whole, but also not one size fits all. So while one specific product might be really good for one person, might not be good for another person with almost the very same as, oily skin, let's say, so you might have to add something else in there, make the treatment a little more customized for that person because everybody is different.
Yeah.
In all of our products, we use very concentrated levels of really potent active ingredients. So what does active ingredient means? It just means that you have enough of that ingredient to make the changes that are necessary. Retinol, you just mentioned that as a really good example. There's a lot of
You there?
heard a little bit about retinol and all the amazing benefits for the skin, and they would go and buy that product expecting for that retinol to make those changes on their skin. They don't know that the active ingredient is very, very minimal. So there's not enough retinol in that product to go through the cascade process to provide, to break it down into retinoic acid to provide all those wonderful benefits. So lots of marketing hype there. And that's what the majority of lines, unfortunately. So we use the highest amount of actives possible. And if you guys go to our website, under the education tab, we have a lot of information there for you, but we also have a list of our high-tech ingredient list is what it's called. There's clinicals for all of the main active ingredients that we use. So you guys can go and read about it and educate yourself. These are clinicals that scientists have done, professionals have done. We're not, we're very transparent. We tell you everything that's in our products, the amount of actives. And so when creating our products, Tony, the owner said, okay, so you use, for example, 3% of this ingredient in this clinical. What's the max amount of this ingredient I can use in my product? And they'll say, okay, 6% is probably the highest that you can go to be safe on the skin. He said, okay, let's use 6. So that's what we mean when we say we use the highest amount of actives available. And so again, if you're using these products and they don't have that actives, your skin is just not getting what it needs. It's just marketing BS.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Well, actually, I just was responding to a question that what treatment do I recommend for pregnant clients? And while we always have to say, ask your doctor first, but really alpha hydroxy acids are typically recommended and quite safe, which would be our mandelic based one peel, and even in conjunction with some of our protocols for our mask system. I know that we're not going over the mask system today, but really, oh, yay. Then you really just want to be more mindful with pregnant clients of high dosages of like retinols, anything that's vitamin A derivative, or beta hydroxy like salicylic, because anything that's considered fat soluble and can get into the bloodstream. That's why they're very careful with pregnant ladies. Yeah, and I think there's in the pumpkin peel, it's a glycolic and lactic with bilberry, and beta carotene I know is in there, but beta carotene isn't in like high enough fat soluble concentration that I would worry too much. So you probably could be fine with the pumpkin tube, especially because it's not nightly. You also want to be careful with the nightly or the daily products with expectant mothers, So, you know, they can definitely use like a vitamin C. They can use revitalizing booster serum. They can use peptide. They can use really the things I would have them stay away from would be like the HQ lightening, the vitamin A intense, the retinol mixer, blemish, RX serum, anything with the salicylic. But yeah, they can actually use quite a bit of our stuff, to be honest.
Mhm.
Especially Mandelic. You know, Mandelic is nice because it has Mandelic has properties about beta hydroxy, but it's technically water soluble alpha hydroxy, and it's great for sensitive skin too with a larger molecule.
Mhm.
So hopefully that helps. You are very welcome, Claudette. Yeah, feel free to reach out. I have some estheticians here at my office that love to explore things, and I love it because we come up with a lot of our own fun, customizable things there, and I'm more than happy to help out. Can we get the pregnancy contradiction list, indication list via email? Absolutely. That's something that, you know, it's funny. Dr. Dunham is an OBGYN, so I got you covered. So I will get that for you guys. Yes, let me write that down in my little notes.
And just so everyone knows, we're going to follow up. I'm going to send everybody our basic guidelines. And these are all kind of what Kelsey had mentioned. We have some new verbiage and how we are explaining our line. We want to just make it really easy for you guys. So our basic guidelines are going to go over our targeted treatment serums, just all the retail, and then how we classify our peels, which we're going to go over today. So you'll have this to go back to for reference. We're going to send our base 1 protocol as well as our base 2 protocol. We'll also send all of our show deals too. And you guys, if you, we'll give you 48 hours to place an order from this Zoom. If you guys want to take advantage of any of those specials, just email them over to me. And this, again, will all be noted in an email. We'll send you the recorded Zoom as soon as we can download that. And then we'll also send you our virtual manual. So just know that a lot of that is changing, but there's still some good info in there. The prescription mask system is good you can read about that a little bit. And then if you go all the way to the back, it breaks down all of our retail products. And so there's some good selling points in there and lists out the ingredients and things like that. And then also it has all of our consent forms, our contraindications. And so going back to the pregnancy person, like Kelsey's saying, it's just the biggest thing there. I mean, obviously there's hormones and different things going on. So she might've been able to tolerate something prior to being pregnant, but everything changes. And if you have kids, you know that everything changes. So it's just, if anything were to happen to a baby, then they're going to rack their brain as like, what happened? You know, oh, I got that chemical pill. Was it because of that? And so just to cover you, make them sign a consent form and everything else, and let them know, you know, you're probably safe, but if you're working with any peels or anything like that, just have them sign that consent form. But Kelsey's recommendation of the mask system in conjunction with the home care is really great for pregnant people. So yeah, we'll send all that stuff to you guys at the end, so you'll have all of that.
Yes.
So yeah, with basically, you know, in a nutshell with Dermadality, you're getting an very advanced corrective line. It's very diverse. It's but yeah, well-rounded for anybody. Nobody's left out in this line. If you know, we love foo-foo facials and all that stuff, but that's not who we are. So, you know, if you want to correct somebody's skin and get those changes, then this is the line to go to. Anything else you want to touch on with this?
No, that's perfect. And I just said that on our website under the, which we are, of course, we are updating it, but editing, yes, it just takes some time, but there are currently education, training or education forms on there where you'd find consent forms as well.
Perfect.
And feel free, you know, to, you know, if you have as an esthetician or a little business and want to put your, you know, edit it accordingly, you're more than welcome to.
All right. You want to take this one away?
Yeah. So how and why do we precondition? You know, again, you guys can read the bullet points here. Builds the skin's tolerance and integrity. Remember, we talked about the overall health. Think of that analogy with the, you know, running a marathon, unconditioned, preconditioned or not, but you know, the risk there. Debris the field. Really what that means, the debris. Where did I get that term? I got that from a friend of mine that basically, as a skin is building its tolerance to, you know, these higher active ingredients over time, to bring the field is really just clearing that, the gunk and the glue basically that's underneath the deeper layers of the skin, the collagen too. That is the stuff that is kind of what over the course of time kind of causes sagging of the skin, clogging of the pores. It's that gunk as our cell turnover over the course of the years slows down. And if we don't keep that up, then, it's going to start to accumulate underneath the skin. And that's the field that needs debris, the junk and gunk. So again, what we do when we increase the cell turnover and use, key high active ingredients, we are debrising the field. We are clearing the pathway for the key active ingredients to then reach, have clear pathways to reach deeper levels of the skin, and then again train the skin to stimulate its own growth factors even further, and produce more hyaluronic acid as our bodies are meant to do, and depletes over the course of time. Predictability and control, that's all, it all goes hand in hand. Thickening the dermis while thinning the stratum corneum. Basically what that's doing when we say thickening the dermis, we are, making our skin, nice and plump. We want it to be nice and firm and, soft and smooth like a baby. We want that skin to have that true integrity. And that is what thickening the dermis is, building that collagen and elastin, stimulating those fibroblasts for true integrity there. Thinning the stratum, basically meaning that we also, that there's nice, again, goes back to debris in the field. We're creating that free passageway for those ingredients to then enter into the skin there. Gradual introduction, here, let's remove this chat, into inflammation. So basically, it's a marathon, not a race. So we are gradually training the skin, kind of like that frog boiling in water at medium heat. I think she's in a hot tub, but really we typically think that is a bad thing. But in this case, we are training the skin to react in a healthy manner to inflammation and stimulating its natural reparative process, not overdoing it to where the skin then just like freaks out. And we can treat all Fitzpatrick types. That's the beauty of it. I've had more people come in my office of, a deeper skin, Fitzpatrick skin types 5 and 6, exasperated because they're like, nobody will treat my skin. And I can have them come in same day and do a base 1 peel and then send them home with some home care to precondition if they need more intensive corrective repair. And what Victoria is saying before is there are often times where you do several in-office treatments plus home care where that actually ends up taking care of quite a bit, to where you then may need to revisit your original treatment plan because they may have responded so well that they don't need more intensive treatment. It just depends on everyone, right? And then suppress the melanin activity, so that, because we all have melanin, but what we don't want is the overproduction of it and the, freaking out of it. So then we hypo and hyperpigment. And then of course it goes back to reducing the risk of hyperpigmentation. And then, we have series of layered base 1 peels and active home care ingredients. So we layer them for the saturation of the skin with nutrients and ingredients, so that, again, you don't want to put like these high levels of one thing on the skin. If you bring them all together in this perfect, blend of ingredients, like baking a cake, you get then the nice outcome, predictable outcome that you're looking for as we layer them, instead of just like splash one core thing on there.
Exactly. So with Dermadality, and from our back bar to home care, all of our products, they work to seal and transepidermal water. We provide a ton of anti-inflammatory ingredients into even our peels. Like our retinol boosters have some anti-inflammatory properties in there. And we know that that's key, because inflammation is the devil when it comes to anything really, but skincare, it's when your skin is inflamed that, like Kelsey's saying, the melanocytes go crazy and they deposit the melanin on the skin. And so we need to train that. And so also with Dermadality, you have tyrosinase inhibitors in all of the products. So you're training them at home. You're introducing these tyrosinase inhibitors, which literally act as a wall so that tyrosine can't bond with tyrosinase and create that. So it stops the production of melanogenesis. So even in our in-office treatments with our tyrosinase inhibitors, you take that home, you keep introducing them. And so we really just try to eliminate all pigment issues. And so those are really the key things there that are important, and we provide to you in this line. And so one thing we want to make sure everybody is clear on is when we start to precondition, you don't have to start with just home care. That was confused a lot of people before. You can have somebody walk into your office, whatever Fitzpatrick, and you can do a base 1 layered with a pumpkin accelerator, and oftentimes even a retinol booster that day. We have various grades of these boosters and stuff. So if you're working with somebody who may have showed a little bit of sensitivity during the first layer, the first 2 layers, the base one with the pumpkin, maybe you're doing maybe you're not going to do a booster that treatment, or maybe you can do our lowest strength, which is our retinol cascade 10, send them home with that. That is the very start of your preconditioning process. And then before they leave, you're explaining to them all the things that Kelsey and I are telling you today about how important it is to take home an active targeted treatment serum so that you can continue the process of igniting the growth factors, which in turn are producing collagen and elastin. So they have to take these targeted treatment serums home to continue the preconditioning process. Because if they don't, then everything, all that wonderful treatment that you just did, that controlled injury in the office, all that stuff dies within just a couple days, and it'll go right back to zero. And every time they come in to see you, they're going to have to start over, and they're going to wonder why they aren't seeing any progress. So, but yes, so preconditioning starts with the first in-office treatment, and then you send them home with the correct serums. All right, so we now kind of broke down our back bar system into base 1 peels, base 2 peels, accelerator, and boosters. Kelsey, take it away.
Yeah. So, so we broke it apart. So the base peels are basically the like the liquid ones in the glass blue bottles, and those are you want to think of those as the baseline foundational active ingredients that you are looking to penetrate into the skin, right? Hit that first. And those are our hybrid blends of alpha hydroxy acids, vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and powerhouse antioxidants that are going to penetrate deep into the skin prior to putting the then accelerator, which the accelerator is the pumpkin, right? I'm going to go back to the base 1 pill for a moment. So just think base 1 pill plus pumpkin, right? That's our 2 combo right there. Base 1 pills are already hybrid blends. Then you put the pumpkin on top, you get even more benefit. Base 1 pills are alpha hydroxy acids, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and they are what need to be neutralized, which means those are, the client does not wear that home, right? So it is a water soluble molecule. So those are not going to be neutralized by the skin itself, like a base 2 pill would be. Again, it says down here, it is the first layer. So the base, that's why we call it the base of what is going to first go on the face. Never mix them, pick one, just pick one. Then once that base peel is dry, usually I tell my team for just easiness of it, 8 minutes, an 8-minute rule. After about, anywhere between 6 and 8 minutes, I have the fan on them. Then the accelerator, which is the pumpkin. And the pumpkin is lactic and glycolic acids, alpha hydroxys. However, the main shining star really in the pumpkin peel is the bilberry extract. And that bilberry extract is a super antioxidant, but it also is vasodilator. So it's going to cause the skin to heat, right? That vasodilation, and it's going to allow the base 1 peels to penetrate even further into the layers of the skin. So the alpha hydroxy acids, the base concern of what we're trying to do in increasing cell turnover, retexturize, retone the skin, is going to happen at a much more intensive pace with the accelerator on top. So we've got our driver base 1 pill, the accelerator right on top, right? And so leave that on top for about anywhere between 6 and 8 minutes. And then that is what needs to be removed, again, neutralized. So really, to be honest, I don't even think anyone in my office uses pumpkin by itself. We always do it at least with the mandelic, and then pumpkin, then we remove it. And then we use, and then once that's all nice and dry, then we put on one of the retinol boosters that the client then does wear home.
Yeah, in fact, as a manufacturer, we recommend if you're doing the pumpkin peel on the face, neck, or the décolleté, that you always pick one of the base one peels first. And in the basic guidelines that we'll email you guys after this training, it breaks everything down. So you just go to base one section and it'll break it down, but it's the mandelic peel, the C Vitality, and the intensive brightening. And as Kelsey mentioned, these are a hybrid blend of all the different alpha hydroxy acids. And we find that they work much better than just like a straight one acid. Like talking about going back into the day, 80s and 90s, you know, glycolic was a favorite and a high concentration, but glycolic is a very small molecule. It's penetrates super fast. And so you lose a lot of control there, especially when it's your first time, you know, peel on a client. But if you blend glycolic with lactic, which is a 3-carbon molecule, and then maybe some L-ascorbic, which is your vitamin C, and maybe a little salicylic, and you get this blend of all these different acids, you're targeting so many different aspects of the skin as opposed to just one straight acid. So that's why we do hybrids. We see amazing results, and it really helps to reduce inflammation as well, as odd as that sounds. So you're picking one. This is my Zoom background, so if it disappears, sorry. This is your mandelic peel. Base one, you're layering that down first, like Kelsey said, and then you're applying the pumpkin peel right on top, the bilberry extract, and creates the vasodilation, which drives that peel down further into the skin. So you get all the benefits of the pumpkin peel also, but most importantly, all the benefits in your base one peel, which, as Kelsey mentioned, it's more than just acids in there. You've got minerals and vitamins and the tyrosinase inhibitors and all these great things that your skin needs. And so we're kind of manipulating the pH a little bit by doing that as well. And we're going to do some further investigation on this, but her partner, one of the other partners of Dermadality, as mentioned, is a doctor, and he found this really cool article about bilberry extract and how it has the ability to kind of melt other acids. So it's just melting that into your skin. And so you guys, if you haven't done this treatment, you're going to absolutely love it.
And I got a really good question on that, and I wanted to bring this up with that on the protocols. We are updating them, but I got a question about a lot of I know a lot of the protocol says leave the base peels on for 3 minutes, then add pumpkin for 7. Do you think it's better to leave base on for longer, then put on the pumpkin? My answer to that is, you know, we are revamping all of that, but base peels can take anywhere from 3 to 8 minutes to dry off. Just depends on the person in the office, climate. We always have a fan, but for the sake of time, I have to manage my time and my schedule very, very wisely here. We're busy, and general rule of thumb, takes usually about 8 minutes max for it to dry. So I just think of the 8 and 8 rule. If it's dry before 8 minutes, the base peel, then you can go ahead and apply the pumpkin. But if it's not, up to 8 minutes is totally normal. Same thing with if the pumpkin dries before 8 minutes, if it dries in 3 or 4, great. If it takes up to 8, that's fine too. Once that 16 minutes total is up, they both are going to be dry. You can go ahead and remove it.
Yes.
So we'll change that information as well, because I know that the protocols can be confusing. And just say, you know, up to 8 minutes, I really think is what it should say.
And yeah, we have the 2 protocols. I can even adjust that too before we send.
Awesome.
All right. So moving on, and we have a cool video too. We're going to show at the end of this training that shows how to layer and everything. So that's coming. All right, moving on to base 2 and retinol boosters.
All right. So same thing with the base 2 peel. So now the protocol is a little different. The base 2 peels are like the fat soluble peels. So Jesner, modified Jesner, our salicylic acid blemish peel, TCAs. Those are the base 2 peels that are going to be more intensive repair, right? Again, they are hybrid and pure formulas. They're self-neutralizing, meaning that you don't remove those once you apply those on the skin. So they're lower pH as well, which means that the molecule is driven even further into the skin. It's more for advanced repair. And yes, the skin does need to be preconditioned, meaning they have to have been on some home care, some of our retinols, as well as some of the at least one or more, depending on their Fitzpatrick, in response of the base 1 peel as well. So the base 2 peel, what the order of layering would be if you decided to do a pumpkin with the base 2 peel. And I usually recommend, depending on how, again, you've got to use your education as an esthetician on how you understand each client's skin and how they responded to the base 1 peel series in their home care. Take very, very detailed notes on everyone. For the base 2 peels, you would do, you defat the skin, do your cleanse and all that stuff. And then once your skin is ready for the peel, you would do a pumpkin first for a few minutes so that you can vasodilate, get the skin nice and ready to draw the base peel deeper. So you'd actually do the accelerator first, remove it, make sure skin's dry, and then you'd put on the base 2 peel and apply that. And again, as you know, with base 2 peels, you do in layers with that. So if you see any frosting, you would, if you do a second pass on a peel, you would avoid anywhere where there's frost. If they are not frosting anywhere, then just be mindful of seeing where they're red and just, you can do a second pass there. Typically you don't need a third pass, but again, eyeball it. And then at that point, you would then determine whether or not you would want to use a retinol booster for them to wear home. Again, it depends on how sensitive they are. So if you, some people have like skin of an elephant where they're just not sensitive at all, and you could just, do quite a bit, but I do at least one in office base 2 peel first without a retinol booster before you put a retinol booster on them, just to see, as a general rule.
Yeah. Good rule of thumb there too is, anytime you see the frost, maybe that's your indication to just go ahead and put it. If you just see frost here, that's your indication. Then if you're going to go ahead with a booster, put the booster on the face right then. And that's how you kind of gauge that. So as the manufacturer, we don't recommend more than 3 layers, and that's like super advanced. Our products are very, very potent. I've heard of some other lines where you can do like 6, 7 passes of these, TCAs and Jesners, not with this line. And also that has a lot to do with everything that we've done prior to moving on to base 2s. So with our series of our preconditioning base 1 peels, with the home care, we are thinning that stratum corneum and, like thickening the dermis, all the things that we're saying. So the skin is ready to receive the base 2. It doesn't have to work through that thick outer exterior, that stratum corneum. So it's going straight down right to the density of protein, which is what it's seeking out. And so I think that's why they might be so potent. And also, again, because the pH is so low and the products are just very strong. So really no more than 3 passes, and that's going to be a lot, but just, take it easy. Again, always refer back to it's the marathon, not a race. Your client will come back for another treatment and then you can do more. So we do have a video on that as well. It's not ready today, but we'll go ahead and send that to you too. It should be ready for us by this afternoon. So we'll send that to you so you can actually see how to apply it. And I think we did capture the frosting on it as well. Yes. So base 1, base 2, and also another kind of rule there is we like to say if your client is tolerating our vitamin A intense nightly with no problem, then that's kind of your indication that you can move on to base 2. If they're still having a lot of sensitivity, just using that corrective serum at home, and they can only do it maybe 2 times a week, then that tells you that their skin needs to be, that you need to continue building that integrity with the base 1 peels. And then another thing with the boosters too, I don't know if Kelsey mentioned that, these are leave-on. So this is the last step of the peel process. Your client wears this home, you're layering the booster right over the base 2, and they have to leave these on for up to 6 hours because this retinol has to cascade, and that takes 6 hours-ish. So your client's wearing that home. And they can leave it on for 24 hours, or if after 6 hours the smell's too bad or whatever, they can wash it off.
I usually just tell people if it's in the morning, you can wash your face at night. And if there are appointments in the evening, wash it tomorrow morning too. And I also, it's important to remind people, even though they sign a consent and you give them like written stuff, then you'll want to still verbally give them instruction and remind them, hey, especially with the retinol booster, it's going to boost that peel. So it might take a few days and to see, the actual peeling action. But yeah, you will get a really nice response from any one of those retinol boosters.
Fun fact, the Long Island iced tea was named because of the drink. This is a Tony thing. He said it's like the drink, you can have 1 or 2 at night, you don't feel it until the next day. And that's kind of like the Long Island. It feels really good on the face. I'm not going to say, it's tolerable for everybody, but you don't really feel the full effects until the next day. Hey, Matt.
Yeah,
Hi.
just say hi to the doctor. This is Dr. Dunham. He's in
Hi.
some procedures today.
How are you?
This is our webinar of estheticians in Las Vegas
Oh, great.
and other places too. I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm all over.
From all over. So yeah,
Good.
there he is in the flesh.
All right. Yes, I
All
exist.
right. All right, moving on. Oh, and with the retinol booster, you only need one layer of that. Oh, and back to the base one too, you only need one layer of this. You'll see in the video how she applies it. She kind of goes over the face a couple times, just trying to get all the product on the face. With alpha hydroxys, it doesn't matter if you do multiple passes. It does not mean that each pass you're driving it in layer like the base two is. Moving on, so you're picking one base one, you're applying one layer, that's it. Base two, be mindful because each pass is driving the other pass deeper into the skin. So you have to really be careful. We highly suggest the woven gauze when applying, and you use pressure and you're making sure that you're not double passing in the areas because the product will penetrate deeper and deeper with each pass. And then the retinol booster is just one layer. This is a guide. We're going to be kind of working on this and adjusting this a little bit. This is our preconditioning chart, and it was actually modified from the Dr. Fitzpatrick, who invented the Fraxel laser, and he had to create a guide for the dial on his laser to know how, I guess, deep to adjust it for the penetration, dependent upon the client's Fitzpatrick. Because again, doesn't matter what you're doing, any what's the word? You're doing a treatment, activating a controlled injury, you're creating a controlled injury, you're igniting inflammation, and it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's, laser or chemical peels or microneedling, you're igniting inflammation. And so it gets worse with the darker the skin. So this is kind of his guide, and we modified it to fit our chemical peels. So when you're working with the lighter skin tones, we recommend that you're doing at least one of the base one pumpkins with the home care. And again, as Kelsey mentioned, you have to use your expertise as a professional to gauge the client's skin sensitivity. And maybe you're doing 2 or 3 of those preconditioning peels, but rule of thumb, it's usually just one. And then combined with the home care. Same with the Fitzpatrick 2, 3, it's going to jump up to 4 to 6 weeks here. So that's about 2 in-office treatments. And you guys keep in mind too, that typically you're only doing a treatment every 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, that's usually people's budget too. They can only come in once a month. And also too, you want to give the skin time to heal and to reset, because you never actually know what kind of results you're going to get until the skin is fully healed. And that even is true with our base one with the pumpkin accelerator. You don't see sheet peeling with that, but there is still a recovery time. So every 3 to 4 weeks, typically, if you're doing a corrective series, I know Kelsey does these in her office. She'll have people come in every 2 weeks for 3 weeks. So that's one treatment, come in again 2 weeks later for another treatment, 2 weeks later for another treatment. So
I'll
that's
do a lot of times with like active acne. And sometimes I'll even like alternate it with the protocol with like the with like a peel, and then I'll do the RX mask and then a peel and the RX mask. Sometimes it'll be all peels. It just really depends.
Yeah.
That's where the more familiar and comfortable you get, the more you can play around with some stuff.
Exactly. So, that was a treatment plan that she had discussed with somebody. That was their goal from the beginning. But then after that, she hit the skin pretty hard. She's probably going to give it a little rest, maybe come in for a hydrating facial or whatever. And then you can do your corrective maintenance peels monthly. So if you're looking at 2 to 4 weeks, that's about one treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at 4 to 6 weeks. That's probably 2 of the base one treatments with the active home care. Now jump up to Fitzpatrick 4. This is kind of your Spanish skin, bumping up now to 6 to 8 weeks, and so on and so forth. So the darker the skin tone, the longer your preconditioning, and the more mindful you're going to be. But again, you could be working with somebody with a very light skin, and they could have super sensitive skin as well. So it really just depends. This is just a guide.
Yeah, I'm pretty fair skin and I am very sensitive. So, and if and one little thing too that I think is important to point out is when if you get like little rash, or if any client or anybody gets like a rash, like response to anything, even the home care, or like the or redness or irritation, it's not always indicative of any allergic reaction. A lot of times it's over exfoliation. That happens to me personally a lot when I over exfoliate. If I'm using, say, like I use exfoliating peel pads 2 days in a row, just the at-home ones, and I like had this glorious little goatee situation going on for about 4 days. My skin's very sensitive, and it looked like a little bit of a rash there, but it wasn't, because I'd also, a week before, I play around, but I forgot I had done a microderm mandelic pumpkin peel. And then the next week I had 2 days in a row. I don't know what I was thinking, but I just used the exfoliating because it doesn't sting and hurt when you use it. And so it's like, just, yeah, next day I was like, oh, this is, it was more of a response of over exfoliating, not necessarily allergic reaction. Anyhow, I wanted to share that experience.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And so with that, then if somebody told me that, I would say, okay, let's hold off on any more treatments. Let's get you on our Moisture Soothe Plus, which is our, it's a very anti-inflammatory cream that we have. You can use it nightly, and it really is amazing at reducing any inflammation. And then maybe our hyaluronic sea ester for some moisture. And so let's get your skin barrier built back up, and then we'll hit it again with the treatments when you're fully healed. So we can adjust to a situation like that too. And, that will happen as these products are active. So even still, like sometimes I will have I'll put on my serums in the morning, and my cheeks will get super flush. And I did the same thing the day before, but nothing happened. So it's just, your body changes, your skin is changing. These products are active and they'll work, but that's what you want. You want to see some sort of reaction to know that everything's working. Okay, speaking of active home care, so we kind of went over this, the percentage of ingredients to initiate the change. And we went over this in the beginning when we were talking about the retinol. It has to be a high enough concentration. Retinol has to be between a 0.8 and a 1.1% to convert to retinoic acid, to produce collagen, to help with texture, to help with dispel embedded pigment, all the different things produce collagen and elastin. So if it's not in those percentages, it's not going to work for you. Our vitamin A is a 0.8% and our retinol mixer is a 1.1%. I think the explanation of the bases is kind of cool. If you want to tell them about that as a manufacturer, how we create our retinol products.
Yes, basically, in order for there to be like an effective result really on for any product and skin for retinol or retin-A, any kind of vitamin A derivative, there has to be a high enough concentration in the end product in order to become bioavailable to the cells in the skin to actually be able to gain the benefits of activity, right, from this product. So basically what we do is we have what's called a 100% pure base of the vitamin A. And basically what that means is, when we compound it, there are options for, say, it's like a company like ours to purchase 20%, 40%, or 50% concentration of a base, where we then develop product in the lab and create product, right? And as a product is being created, and you do have to have certain ingredients in there in order to bind it, to make sure that it is stable and safe, and all those guidelines that you got to follow. So by the end, a product is diluted to a certain percentage. And often, across the board, that's where products, they can claim that, hey, we've got all this vitamin A or retinol or whatnot, but really what makes it difference between being clinical strength or, cosmetic strength, or just, just like very like minute trace amounts in it. That's where, is it professional product? Is it over the counter product? Is it, how highly concentrated are these? That's where it is dependent on the overall base, and most aren't. So what Dermadality does is we get the 50% base, which is the highest concentration that you can actually get, and then double it. So now I have 100% base to start with for our compounds to then create, say, vitamin A intense, right? So we have 100% pure base. We're creating vitamin intense, putting, all the other additives, mixing it in there. And when I say additives, I mean like the other ingredients that we're adding in that are pertinent to the success of that product, right? So then what happens is that base is now completely pure, so that when we have our final little bottle, the final product, we have actually a significantly higher amount of available retinol in that product to then be applied to your skin and have that, what we call the cascade effect, which that cascade effect is once applied to the skin. And if in high enough concentration, then if it's in high enough concentration, then that retinol then becomes, it turns into retinoic acid. And that retinoic acid is what penetrates and becomes bioavailable to your cells to then create change and to stimulate growth factors and to rebuild collagen and elastin and stimulate fibroblasts. That concentration has to be a minimum of 0.5% concentration per like volume thing. You get in the metrics of it is, that's not always my strong suit of like doing the mathematic part, but yeah, you have to have a high enough concentration of that in order for there to be any effective treatment or change to the skin. And so that is where Dermadality is different. We take that 50% base, we double it, make it 100%. So basically our vitamin A intense starts out with the base concentration of 1.6%. That's a lot. The final product is now 0.8%. So that is why it's very strong. And then of course we have added tyrosine inhibitors in there. We have added brightening agents, but it's a very clear short list of ingredients in there to maintain stability and effectiveness, and then also help so that your skin can, adapt over the course of time too, without, again, having Freddy Krueger face. Now our retinol mixer, very intense, and actually sometimes can have a smell of the exosomes, it's the, there's a marine bryolet is in there. So our retinol mixer is now it's 2.2% starting out, and then ends up being 1.1% as a finished product. And then of course there's added bryolet in there, which is a marine version of like HQ, hydroquinone. It's intensive brightening. It's very expensive and hard to find. So that's the only product we have bryolet in there. And then we have in there also licorice root, kojic acid, niacinamides. Those are all skin brighteners. So all that in conjunction with that high amount of retinol is that's why retinol mixer, I always tell people, use a bottle of vitamin A intense at least first before thinking about graduating to that.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, we always recommend that. Start with your client off with the vitamin A intense. It's not weak by any means. In fact, like Kelsey said, the finished product is 0.8%. And so when you go get a prescription of Retin A from the doctor, they're going to prescribe you 0.5, maybe a 1.0. So we are right there, stronger. And as she mentioned, a prescription of Retin A is just the retinoic acid. You're putting that right on your face. And a lot of people have a hard time adjusting. You have to go through a pretty uncomfortable adjusting period. And so with us, we have those anti-inflammatory ingredients, the other essential vitamins for your face. You're getting a lot more and high concentration. And we love to talk about our retinol just because it's the good example of our highly concentrated products. But also retinol is like the gold standard for everything in skincare. It is anti-aging. It lightens and brightens, stimulates collagen and elastin. It is the only clinically proven ingredient, retinoic acid, to stimulate new collagen and elastin. So it's a pillar there. And in fact, it's one of the vitamin A intense and the HQ lightening gel are our two preconditioning serums. So you might want to write that down. When we talk about preconditioning targeted treatment serums, those are the two that you want to make sure your clients are on, at least the vitamin A. And if their budget can afford it, then, get them on the rest of the line, get a cleanser, toner, a moisturizer, and everything else. But when you're going through the preconditioning phase, vitamin A and the HQ. So I'm going to also let you talk about saturation of the skin here. I know this is your jam and I love your explanation of that.
Yeah. So saturation of the skin, really just what that means. I mean, saturate means to get really, really, really soaked, right? But it also means, an intense concentration of whatever it is you're, looking to saturate with, right? So what that really means in our land is, a high concentration of of the amounts of the vitamins, the minerals, the alpha hydroxys, beta hydroxys, collagen stimulating ingredients, moisture barrier strengthening ingredients, hyaluronic acid to draw in the moisture and to help prevent transepidermal water loss. You are basically saturating the skin in multi-layers of nutrients that it requires in order to sustain itself and in order to maintain its homeostasis and also age gracefully is the best way I could put it in layman's terms. Really, the factors of aging are, there's there's genetic, there's environmental, there's, and then just a regular aging process if we didn't have any of those, imbalances to consider, right? So what our goal really is to age where our bodies naturally would without any of the external factors that just suck, right? So, we are saturating the skin like we would our bodies with certain supplements, nutrients, water, all of the nutrients that our body requires to not just survive, but to thrive. We're doing the same thing with the skin. We are saturating the skin with highly concentrated active ingredients to not only survive, but to thrive and to combat all of the aggressors that are just coming to fight at it daily. So, that's just the world we live in. So our goal is to saturate with, and layer with, in the correct way with ingredients and nutrients. And that goes also back to, I can get a little extra nerdy here on the pH levels. The reason why we talk a lot about, why do the pH levels really even matter? It's because that is what's going to determine whether or not the molecules of these ingredients, you get into the science nerd stuff, the molecules, they're there and everything, but if they're just sitting on top of the skin, then that really doesn't do much. The depth of penetration is only able to occur when there are other certain ingredients, used in conjunction in order to allow penetration to even happen. That's why with, mandelic acid, it's great for sensitive skin, but if it doesn't have, coactive ingredients in there to help it penetrate, it just sits there. Or if it doesn't have, that bilberry extract, like what we need to layer with the pumpkin, just kind of sits there. So you do need, so RM corrective, it's funny, I think that's like my little unsung hero. I love that stuff. I use it for my post laser treatments all the time for resurfacing after a couple of days, post Morpheus 8 to help slough off the skin cell. But, the hyaluronic acid, the mandelic acid works well because it's a high percentage, but it's also very, very low pH. That's why it's such a watery texture. And so hopefully that can kind of answer there that it's a saturation of the skin and going into highly refined pharmaceutical based ingredients. All of these things are that perfect combination of the product actually succeeding, which is why I go back to we yield phenomenal results very quickly, even with just home care, simply because our formulas are so pure and so concentrated. They're also low pH enough to even penetrate and get the job done.
Yes, exactly. And just strategically blended so that when we are putting them on the face, like she's mentioning, they're doing everything. We don't like to target somebody comes in with texture issues, acne. Yes, of course, we want to treat that. And honestly, all of our products will. It doesn't matter which base one peel you pick, combined with a pumpkin, it's going to target that acne. But more specifically, we could get a little specific and probably use the mandelic layered with the pumpkin. Mandelic is great for it's anti-inflammatory, it's decongesting, antibacterial, all that good stuff. But all of our products from Backwater Home Care are strategically blended to address the skin as a whole. So while we're treating any texture issues, we're also addressing any premature aging or any hyperpigmentation. Same is true if somebody comes in and their main issue is hyperpigmentation. I have products that are, going to be, I'd probably gear more towards to help them with that. But in turn, I'm also addressing any texture issues they have, so that's another really great thing. You're getting, you're correcting as a whole through the saturation of the skin with all of these strategically blended products.
And, on top of that, just to piggyback on what you just said, Victoria, it's a lot like, how many times do you see like a commercial for pharmaceutical medication that's oh, it's going to treat this. It does amazing. But then here's a long laundry list of side effects that you're going to have too. I'm going to go ahead and prescribe you something now for that too. So it's
Including
really, I mean, it's taking when I say overall holistic approach, I'm not saying holistic as far as like throwing avocado on your face. I'm talking like holistic approach as treating treating the skin as a whole, like what Victoria just said, with all the things, and then also preemptively treating any potential side effects from what we're primarily treating as well. That we want to make sure that your overall skin health is addressed and not just acne, because you can throw hydrogen peroxide on your face and treat acne and dry the crap out of it, right? But then you got a whole new problem, and now making the acne worse over the course of time, because the healthier your skin as a whole, the better it's going to respond to everything.
Exactly. So well said. You know, you would think that when you're using all these chemical peels and retinol, like our skin would just be dry as heck. But in fact, like my skin is just so dewy and so luminous all the time. It's just full of moisture. And I live in Las Vegas. I have chronically dry skin. That's in my genes. But because of how these ingredients, these products are blended together, and again, treating everything as a whole, I don't have that issue. And I do chemical peels regularly, and I do use my retinol nightly, and I do use the exfoliating pads. I should be dried out, but I'm not.
Well, and it's really just that, again, we're creating balance at the end of the day, and that's because now, like, your skin has been properly trained, and now you have adequate like cell turnover because again, you don't want too much, you don't want too little. You got to have it just right, like Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
That's right. Do we
right?
have any questions?
And I'll tell you, I actually, even in my office, I don't always have time to get like in-office treatments. Actually, I hardly ever do. And I have people ask me all the time, like, how old are you? What are you using? Are you doing anything? Like, how much Botox and filler do you use? No, I really just use home care, and I don't have time for like 20 steps either. So people are surprised, and they tell them I'm almost 39 years old and I use great home care.
You should see her skin in person. You have got dermadality skin.
I've been using nothing but Dermadality for the past, 2.5, 3 years. And I am the queen too of always playing around with skincare lines, and usually not using everything of one line until I started using Dermadality.
Yes, you don't need to go anywhere else.
Yes, Victoria, your skin is so amazing and always glowing. Your skin is goals, exclamations. That was very sweet.
Nice. Okay, so corrective skincare improves the health of the skin, allowing for minimum downtime. This is important too, because when you go into our base 2 peels, we talk about, there being sheet peeling and there's a lot of downtime. While there is definitely some downtime, there's significantly less by properly preconditioning the skin with the base 1 peels and the home care, because you're training that skin again, it's in a healthier state. So by the time you're hitting it with these more aggressive peels, there's significantly less downtime, which is just super important.
Yeah. And that's where I think it's, I'm all about, always having an answer for, you're always going to get some combative people. That's just life, no matter what industry you're in. And you are going to get people who are like, I'm not going to be happy unless my half of my face is completely peeled off. I don't want skin. I don't know how often you get that a lot. Like, well, again, run that marathon. When you run that marathon, you're not going to tear any ligaments and joints. And
yes.
Speaking analogies to your clients, they do respond well for the most part. 9.5 times out of 10, they respond the way you want them to.
Mm-hmm. And I think having before and afters is so important. And another part of what we're doing too to help you guys grow is all these befores and afters. We're getting consent forms from our customers who are giving us these photos so that you guys can use them as well. So that when your clients come in and you have that initial consultation, because it's so important, especially for the very first time you ever meet somebody, spend a good hour with them. That's what Kelsey does every single time she has somebody come into the office. She spends that hour, she gets to know them, what their goals are, what they're currently doing, what medications they're on, what their budget is, everything else. And so in that process, if you have, excuse me, if you have these befores and afters and you're looking at the difference of, like some of those ones we just shared with you of all that pigment versus, this translucent dewy skin, and you tell them, guess what, these are our base 1 peels, or you don't have to explain base 1, but these are our non-aggressive peels, you can say, because that's something they'll understand in conjunction with our home care. There's no downtime involved here. And so that person who, might have thought, peel my skin off is
Yeah.
going to be more apt to, you know, believing you in what you say based on these befores and afters. So we'll have a whole area in our website where you guys can download pictures and videos, and we're making a ton of training videos and stuff so you guys can come back to. If you have a, like for instance, a pumpkin peel, you know, we'll have a video on that is, what are the ingredients, how do you use it, you know, and so we want to help you in any way that we can.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering if this is Nita, by the way, sorry.
Hi.
Hi, I just wanted to know if we can use LED or high frequency after neutralizing or removing the peels.
I'll let you take that one away, Kelsey.
Yeah, I mean, just to like, I'm trying to, when we do that, yeah, I mean, you could, I would, when like my ladies use the high frequency, really, I'm trying to think, we actually just did this on somebody with a big situation going on right here. And I can go ask her actually when she utilized it. Yeah, you can, we do. I'll just have to get back to you with which step you do that in.
Okay.
LED, I mean, that's, I would do that more really with the mask system, more so than the peel.
Okay.
When I do that.
Yeah. And we are going to create a lot of advanced protocols for you guys. We're even going to have trainings, how to incorporate dermatology products with different modalities and things like that. We just first, we want to test them out, make sure everything is, is good to go there. But again,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We preach predictability and control. And so when you start adding in other various factors, and I'm not saying, LED especially is like really totally fine. In fact, we used to partner with this one other company, and they had this little device that had different LED, and you could actually penetrate your peels with this device. So I don't think it's really too big of a deal, but just keep in mind, anytime you're introducing any other modality into chemical peels, just make sure that your clients are prepped and primed and ready to go, ready to play around with, because you can lose a little bit of control there and have some adverse reactions that you're not wanting to get. And so, yeah, we'll search into that. We'll look at that, find the answer to that question for sure. And, maybe make a protocol or something for it and follow up to everybody with that.
Well, and on that, I had somebody just respond saying, I usually use my high HF before I do the peels. So that's, I mean, safe enough there, but piggybacking on what Victoria is saying, that, we do have, advanced protocols we're coming out with and everything, but remembering that, I mean, there's things I do here at my office with them that I don't always use as a general rule of thumb, or start out with introductory of teaching how to use this line, because everybody's different. Everybody's response is different. At my office, we do lots of different kind of treatments that go in conjunction with what I do with the peels. So the key is to understand the baseline and the framework of all of this. And then you can start playing around and based on your education, understanding, and knowledge and experience, how to pair it with other things. And we are here to help you along the way with those and give you advanced protocols. But no, we are giving you the framework right now so that you can then explore further down the road as the more comfortable you are.
Exactly. I get asked a lot how extractions fit into the chemical peel process. And so what we kind of have come to the conclusion is, if you're wanting to do a heavy extraction on a client, then it's really a separate day. You want to keep your chemical peels to just a quick chemical peel in and out. This can be accomplished in 20 minutes, really. We'll show you a video. It's just a quick double cleanse, pop the acid on, remove it, do a quick mask if you want, send them home. Or if you're doing your base 2, you're just doing your first, your pumpkin, removing base 2, put the booster on, you're sending them home. That does not take a lot of time. If you want to fill up an hour with the steam and the extractions and the facial massage, those two are really 2 different treatments. And so you really need to treat it as such. Once your client gets, you've seen them a few times and you've done the base one, their skin is preconditioned, then yes, in your European facial hour-long treatment, you could do the base one with the pumpkin in place of the exfoliation phase. And when you do that, it's going to bring all of the gunk to the surface. And so you can do your minor extractions and whatnot, followed by a mask and maybe a light facial massage. That's after they're preconditioned. But you will see when that, and then it's also a way to have your clients coming in every couple of weeks. You know, you do your foo-foo facial with your extractions and, you know, mask, whatever, and then you have them come in 2 weeks later for your quick chemical peel. So then they're coming, you know, back. They're seeing you more often.
And
What's up?
oh, I was going to say a protocol that we do actually in our office is we will do a Dermaplane, like a double cleanse, or like we'll do a double cleanse, you know, defatting the face right out, and then Dermaplane, and then do a base one peel, followed by a pumpkin, and then a cascade. Or if I do a longer treatment, again, this just depends on the case, we'll do that before, instead of the cascade retinol booster, we would then do part of the mask prescription mask system and then put on the cascade. So we'll do a little combination sometimes. So it really just depends, but there are lots of protocols you could combine and do together. Or like I said before, is we would do a chemical peel and then 2 weeks later do the prescriptive mask system where we would do extractions, high frequency as well, and microderm. So we'll alternate Dermaplane plus chemical peel with RX mask system plus microderm. I do that a lot in my office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people love the microderm followed by the base one and pumpkin. Such great results. That's triple exfoliation, and then you add on a booster.
Yeah,
that's 4 layers there. So
but you have to be careful with your state laws on that one. We have Dr. Dunham on site at all times, so that's where I'm a little careful when I share that.
Yeah,
No state laws.
Make sure you're following your state laws. Okay, so a really quick introduction into our prescription RX facial system. This is my son, actually. He's 14. He's so cute, but he is a dirty little boy, and he plays baseball, you know, and he wears the hats that are never washed as often as they should be. And so he gets all the surface acne. And so I have him try to get him to wash his face every night with our mandelic green tea cleanser. And then I'll do the exfoliating pads on him from time to time. But this treatment right here, I did the mandelic and green tea cleanser. I did the blemish control pads. So we have 2 daily exfoliators in our line, our exfoliating pads and our blemish control pads. These can be used in office if you want, in place of your exfoliation phase, and you can also retail them to your clients and they can use them as often as needed. So I did the blemish control pads, and then I did our Rasul clay mask with our mineral actives in there, and then just followed it up with some weightless moisturizer. And this is the difference in just one treatment. I don't know if hopefully this picture is doing it justice, but I mean, you can see the nose, the pores on the nose, and just even the pigment, everything. This is amazing. I love this result right here. But our prescription mask system, and we'll have another Zoom call just on this specifically. So this is gonna be a quick intro. This is a very another active part of our line. We have 6 bases and carriers. So these are going to be our powdered seaweed mask, our powdered oatmeal mask, and a powdered Rasul clay mask, and we have a gel mask. So we've got 4 masks, then we have a facial massage cream, and we have a moisture serum. So those are our 6 bases and carriers. Then we have 6 active complexes. These complexes are FDA approved active. This took like 10 years to go through the process. Usually people in the cosmeceuticals don't bring the FDA in because it's so time consuming, and they don't really regulate the cosmeceutical field, except for really the sunscreen, I believe. SPF has to be FDA approved, but anything else, you don't really have to have it.
Long, expensive process for companies.
Yes, long and expensive, but they did it. So you can take these active complexes and you can put them into your bases and carriers. So we have, for instance, an anti-inflammatory complex. We have a multi-mineral complex, a multivitamin, anti-irritant, antioxidant, an exfoliation complex. And so you become the chemist in this arena, just like the whole line is another way to customize. So if your client comes in for an in-office treatment, you do a chemical peel and maybe they get a little too inflamed. You weren't really expecting that. You've seen this client before. Usually they're fine. No worries. Put on a gel mask or the soothing colloidal oatmeal mask, put some anti-inflammatory complex in there. You're mixing it up and you're putting it on the face, and it reduces inflammation instantaneously. If you're working with somebody with acne, you can add some minerals in there because, they lose a lot during their process with acne. So you can introduce back some minerals. If somebody has a lot of photo damage, if their skin's aging, you can impart some antioxidants. So you really didn't customize this. And it's so much fun because you're making one-of-a-kind treatments for your customers. They can't purchase any of our line, but especially this mask system. So it's all part of your sales process is let me make a tailor-made treatment just for you. We have also again, we'll do a webinar just on the prescription facial system, but we have a whole buy-in too that's like super inexpensive, and it includes everything you need to get started, and it lasts forever. You can make when you do your European facial and you do your facial massage, you can now turn your massage cream into an active treatment. So instead of just putting on some oil on the face for a nice glide, you can have this facial massage cream and you can put some vitamins, maybe some anti-inflammatory complex in there. And so as you're massaging, you're doing a treatment. It's just another part of your in-office treatment that's customized, it's active, and it's result-driven. Our moisture serum, this can be added into any of the masks to make them a little more emollient, a little more rich. Then you can also create one-of-a-kind moisturizer for that treatment, and let your clients know this. Oh, I'm going to make this little moisturizer for you today. It's just basically hyaluronic and I think maybe a little creatine in there. All of the prescription mask system is going to be in the virtual manual that we're going to send you guys, so you guys can go read more about it. But you can add those complexes into this moisture serum and put on a nice moisturizer before they leave. If you want to get creative, you can even create little like jars or whatever and sell that moisturizer if you want. That's the world's your oyster there. There's a lot of different ways to customize and make these awesome treatments that your clients need, and it makes them feel so special. All right, so these are just a couple more pictures. This right here, the hands, this is Tony's hands, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen them, but this is just like proof right here. So I don't want to disclose his age, but he's not young.
62 years old.
Yeah, he's in his 60s.
In California.
Yeah. Yep. And he's, for the last 10 years, he's been using the vitamin A, the vitamin A intense, vitamin C intense, and the sunscreen on just this hand here on the left. And you can see the difference. And in person, it's crazy too. Like the one on the left is bouncy because remember we saying all of our products help to thicken the dermis. It's like baby skin. You go touch a baby's cheeks and it's just so taut and nice. We got all that fresh collagen and elastin. So that's what we're building when we're putting these products on our face. And he did that here on his hands, and he did it diligently every day to have this like proof here he can show people. And then he neglected this hand, this poor little hand here. Never got any love.
Look at that. Isn't that funny? To even see his wrist, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so this just shows you that not only are the products preventative or corrective, they're corrective and preventative. So, we teach that all the time. That hand probably was looking like this hand before, again, because this is only 10 years ago and he's a little older. So it reversed all of that aging, added the collagen elastin, but, you also want to let your younger clientele know, hey, don't start, don't wait till there's a problem to address it. Let's get you in. 25 years is really a great age to start with your in-office treatments, but corrective home care is super important to start just right away. I have two girls too. They're 11 and 13, and they're already using cleansers. I have them on our corrective and the moisturizers, and soon I'll be doing the peels probably when they're like 16 or so.
Yeah, I mean, the more preventative you are, the less expensive it is to repair.
Exactly. And then this over here on the right, this lady here, This is 3 sessions. This esthetician who did this is super talented. She's come to all of our advanced trainings. She's bought the whole retail line. She understands it. And this is, you know, the results. And so this was just Mandelic layered with pumpkin, the first 2. And then the last 2 is the Mandelic and pumpkin with the booster. I'm sorry, there was just 3 treatments. So the first 2 was Mandelic with a pumpkin and then the Mandelic on the booster. And then she had her on home care. So you have all the targeted treatment serums that she's using at home. But I mean, that's amazing results. So, and guys love treatments too. All right, before we get out of here, I'm going to show you guys a quick video on how to apply. It's about like 9 or 10 minutes, I think. So I'm going to play that and we can come back and we can open it up for any questions if you guys want. And then again, just make sure to follow us on Dermadality Skin Solutions. That's our Instagram. We try to post a lot of befores and afters there. We're building that. If you guys haven't registered for a pro account with us, do that as well. You can do that on the website, dermadality.com. In the top right corner, you just click register. And then when you do that, you get to see all the professional pricing. And then all the content that we upload, like the videos and the different things like that, all the training and supporting material will be there. But also you guys can place your orders at your convenience any time of day or night. You know, our phone lines are only open from 9 till 4 usually, Monday through Friday. So, you know, we all have busy schedules. If you ever need to place an order or anything like that, you can do it at any time. So let me go ahead and find this video. Bear with me. And then I'm kind of going to try to just talk you guys through what's going on here. So she is performing a, I think it's a Sea Vitality Base 1 peel. She's going to layer the pumpkin and then she's going to do a seaweed mask at the end. So right now she's starting with our Mandelic and green tea cleanser. We highly recommend this as your back bar cleanser. It's a gel base. It has full of Mandelic, which is anti-inflammatory. It's antibacterial. It's an exfoliant as well. It's an AHA and a BHA. And so while it's lightening and brightening the surface, it's also getting into pores and really cleansing that out as well. Usually, always rule of thumb, you're doing double cleanse in any type of treatment just to make sure you get all the makeup off. This cleanser too, all of our cleansers really are super effective at just melting any makeup off the face and just really getting in there and really thoroughly cleaning the skin. I, again, have drier skin, and any cleanser I ever use, I would get, cleanse my face in the shower. I get out of the shower and my skin is so dry. I can't wait to put on some toner. Like, it's the first thing I do just to, offset that dryness. But with this Mandelic and green tea cleanser, I can lotion up my body. I can do whatever I need to do first before I start getting into all my serums. So here's the prep pads. These are critical to use prior to any peel. They're just little pads. They're basic alcohol and acetone. They're used to defat the skin. So as you can see, she's just doing a pass. They don't smell the best. They definitely smell like acetone. So, just let your clients know, hold your breath or whatever, but they are very important. This just ensures that you got all the makeup off, all the cleanser off, and it allows for a more uniform and controlled peeling process. So here's step 4. This is your base 1 peel. She chose a Sea Vitality, probably based because that client looked like she had a little bit of hyperpigmentation. When you're using these base 1 peels, you really only need like 2 cc's. Sometimes we use these little droppers. They're called our pipettes, and you can use these or whatever else you want to use. But it kind of comes to about, 1.5 of those little pipettes. You can apply it with glycolic applicators if you want. You can use woven gauze, whatever is good for you. She chose a fan brush. She's just going to really get the skin nice and wet with this peel. Obviously, making sure to avoid any cuts or abrasions. The first thing that you would do before applying any acid is just to get Aquaphor, cover up, maybe even like the edge of the nose, or any of the lips are dry. If they have a cut or something, you're just covering that up so that acid doesn't penetrate in that area. looks like she kind of has like a little something in her nose there. So she probably aquaferred her up. So she's getting the face and the neck. You can even go down to the décolleté if you want. See how she's going over the same place like multiple times. It's totally fine with the alpha hydroxys because you're not penetrating each layers deeper and deeper. So here she's waiting. She has the fan. The client is holding the fan and it's helping it to dry. Like Kelsey said, usually like 3 to 5 minutes, maybe longer, maybe 8 if you have that kind of time and you want to let it fully absorb, by all means, go for it. The pumpkin peel is now the next step. You can put it right in the same bowl, if you want to, help yourself with your cleanup process there. It's usually about 1/2 tablespoon. Play around with this. I always say you can add more, but you cannot put your product back in the jar. So to save money and to save your product, start small, add more. If you're doing a larger part of the body, like if you're doing a whole face, neck, and décolleté, obviously you're going to need more. But if you're just doing the face and a little portion of the neck, you're not going to need as much. You don't need a thick layer of the pumpkin peel at all. You just want to make sure that you're fully covering it like she's doing here. Smells really good too. So now this pumpkin peel is vasodilating due to the bilberry extract. So when you apply this, you're going to feel some sort of like a little bit of a heat there. And this is totally normal. This is driving the product deeper into the skin though. So her removal process is by saturating 4x4s with water. She's putting it on the face and then she's removing it. This is her method of removal, but obviously you can do whatever you want. I definitely re-wet my fingertips and I re-wet the pumpkin to make the removal process a little easier. But you can get a cool towel or whatever you want to do. Just make sure you're not using steam at all during these treatments. After the pumpkin peel is removed, do another cleanse. You could use whatever cleanser you want here. I kind of would like to mix it up, use the foaming cream cleanser at this point, just also so you can introduce another product to your client, like maybe they like the foaming, maybe they didn't like the mandelic and green tea cleanser smell, but then they love the foaming cream cleanser. There's another opportunity for you to make a retail sale. So just make sure you're doing an extra cleanse. Sometimes that pumpkin can be difficult to fully remove. And because it's an alpha hydroxy and it has to be neutralized with water, you want to make sure that everything is off so that the peel does not keep penetrating when they leave you. So she's taking the seaweed mask here. You can kind of see on the side, there's directions here for you. It makes it super easy. She's starting by adding the 2 teaspoons into a clear glass bowl. With all of our powdered masks, it is a must that you add in our 10 drops of the blending oil. This just helps the water and the mask and the oil to congeal together. So first you add the powder, then you're adding the water, you're putting the blending oil, 10 drops always for the powder. If you're using the gel mask or the moisture serum or the facial massage cream, you don't need to use the blending oil. This is just for the powder masks. As you're getting used to these products too, she chose the antioxidant complex. Each bottle, it tells you exactly how many drops you can use. It's really important that you do not use more than the drop on the label there per the entire facial. So if she wants to use the antioxidants in the seaweed mask and also the facial massage cream, she's using 5 drops in the seaweed mask and 5 drops in the facial massage cream. So no more than 10 total, or she's using all 10 in the seaweed mask, and that's totally fine too. This seaweed mask is really great. I would say, if somebody has aging skin or pigment issues, this is going to be your go-to mask. It lightens and brightens. It's a clay, so it draws, it dries and it draws out impurities as well. So it's going to address texture issues too, and it's so pretty. It has spirulina, different kind of algae in there, and there's a lot of benefits, a lot of minerals in this mask that really just make your skin feel so good. So as soon as that mask dries, which is usually pretty quick, you can see around the mouth and around the eyes, it's starting to turn that whitish color. As soon as it's for the most part dry. She's re-wetting her fingers and she's re-wetting that mask to make the removal process easier. Again, cool towels feel really good. You know, have a couple of those rolled up. When we do our Zoom training on the prescription system, we can give you guys ideas on what masks to use for what kind of skin type. We even have our oatmeal mask is really good for pre-extraction mask combined with our exfoliation complex. That's actually the only product of ours that you want to use steam with. You steam it up, makes the skin all nice and juicy, and it makes extraction so easy. So now at this point, she's decided not to do a booster, but if you did want to do a retinol booster, instead of toning the face and adding in all the moistures, she would have prepped the skin again, applied the booster, and maybe sunscreen, that she would have gone home. But she's not doing the booster here. So now she's toning her face with the Mandelic and green tea toner, which is phenomenal, more Mandelic, always good for every skin type. She is applying our Peptide Plus moisturizer. In our advanced class 1, we go through all of our products in more detail, what they're good for, the main active ingredients and everything. But this is one of our fan favorite moisturizers. And it actually started as a serum first, full of amino acids, which are super critical for healthy skin as they're the building blocks. So she's getting it all nice and juicy. It's always nice for a client to leave feeling super hydrated. This eye cream is the bomb. Oh my gosh, I've never had an eye cream that works as well as this one. So many good ingredients in here, and a little goes a long way. And that's something else to note we didn't talk about earlier. A little goes a long way with all of our products. If you start feeling like your skin is too juicy or it's too much going on, I always tell people use half of what you're using. The products absorb nicely and they all work together. So now last step is the sunblock. And this is a main product too. You don't want to use a lot. If you use too much, your face is white. You just need a little tiny bit. It's also serum based, so it's hydrating. Acneic clients like this just for their moisturizer. And it is really effective there. So she's getting her skin nice and SPF'd up so she can leave and go about her day. And I wish they had done a before and after here, because I noticed such a change in this lady's skin. Like in the very beginning of the video, all her pigment was much, much darker. You can already see that healthy glow there and the reduction of some of that pigment. And that's basically it. Easy peasy. We have another video too with it's our base 2 peel, but we didn't get that one done in time. So if y'all sign up for our advanced class number 2, when we go into acne and how to treat it, we'll play that video for you guys. All right. So do you want to open it up for, I think you're muted, Kelsey.
Oh, I am?
We want to open it up for any questions or anything. We can do that now. Oops.
Hi, this is Nita. I had a question. Are we able to, what can we use with microneedling, if anything, after microneedling?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi guys. Do you want to unmute yourselves if you have any questions? If not, then we can end here and just know that I think Kelsey's trying to text me. Just know we're going to send a follow-up email to all of you guys with the basic guidelines. Read through that. Check out our protocols for base 1 and base 2. Give them a try. Check out our show deals. We've got a really great peel kit in there that has all of the base. I don't think you hear us. Oh, is it me who's muted? Dang.
Sorry, I was gonna say you can use Hyaluronic Pro is fantastic for with microneedling.
Okay. After the fact, it's okay to apply right after.
Yeah, and it's a high amount of hyaluronic acid, but also zinc that helps a lot with inflammation and irritation. It's fantastic. It's very
Okay,
thick and
great. Thank you.
dewy, so you'll so yeah, it really only works best with microneedling.
Great. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, y'all are muted, not me.
I naturally believe that it was me because I'm usually the one that's like struggling with technical difficulties. So I'm like, oh no, what have I done? Any more questions?
Nope.
All right.
Cool. Well,
So excuse me, sorry.
Yeah.
So I know that you have the in-person trainings, but they're in California. Will there be Zoom trainings for the trainings that we can't go to in person?
Yes, ma'am. We are working on all of that, and we will pretty soon have Las Vegas as well, Colorado, and even Arizona.
Okay, in person?
Yep.
Okay,
Where are you all
thank
from? Is there I guess I could say raise your hand where you're from, but I can't really see. But is there anybody outside of those states that anybody is from right here right now? So mainly California and Las Vegas, Arizona, Colorado.
yeah, we'll definitely open up these advanced trainings via Zoom here soon. Kelsey and I just have to wrap up a couple things. We want to get some of this this material, like our manual done to support you guys, but they'll come sooner than later. And they'll be really great.
Victoria, or Kelsey, I do have a question. This is Jessica. So I was actually, maybe I just misunderstood, but I was under the impression that the pro were able to use it during the microneedling procedure. Is that correct? Or you can also apply it after? Is that also an addition to it? Because that's the way that I had been using it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do, because that's where when I was saying, like, it's, I mean, it's not going to hurt if you put it outside of microneedling. It just doesn't really penetrate without the microneedling process. So yeah, absolutely. Use it during microneedling and use it right after with those little open channels. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to double check. Thank you so much for clarifying that.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for asking. I'm sure you're not the only one with that question.
Another question. I know you said that vitamin A and the HQ is a good combo for preconditioning. Is it okay if they use them together?
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of those too are, depending on people's skin sensitivity. For me, my poor skin, like, it does much better when I either cocktail them together, and I use them like vitamin A intense like every other night still. But yeah, you can definitely use them together, and if somebody, one thing is important to let people know too is, if your skin gets sensitive to something, that does not mean to throw the baby out with the bathwater. That means to adjust how you utilize things so that your skin can continue to adjust and desensitize towards the high active ingredients. So yeah, you can have somebody who, I know tons of my clients that use them both together every night and do just fine. But if somebody's a little bit more on the sensitive side, then you just help them adjust that nightly regimen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. The only thing I would say do not use together are vitamin A intense and retinol mixer. It's like one or the other.
Yeah.
And then and of course, the base peels, don't go mixing those suckers around. But aside from that, I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of things are trial and error for people when it comes to active ingredients.
Did you guys, I think we kind of mentioned earlier too, like the order of layering the products too, like, we mentioned that they all have symbiosis. So it doesn't really matter per se which order you go in, because you're not going to lose any efficacy. But obviously your basic order is cleanse, tone. If you're doing a daily resurfacing pad, you would do that. And then any of your targeted treatment serums, when it comes to those, you can, if you're in a time crunch, just like make a cocktail, put it on. Or you can go and you can layer. And then if you do that, the best way is just thinnest to thickest. So just feel what products, you know, you explore them, see what their consistency is like, and then you'll know what to do. And then your moisturizer and sunscreen.
Yeah, and you can even mix like a vitamin A intense is really intense, pun intended. You know, have them cocktail it with their moisturizer. You know,
Yes.
they can either cocktail it with HQ Lightning or Revitalizing Booster or Hyaluronic Siesta at nighttime, or a moisturizer. You know, if on its own is just too much, and that really can be with HQ. Some people are just really sensitive to HQ too. You know, it just depends. And so one thing that's I always preemptively tell people here at my office is, you may, you know, if you haven't used a lot of highly active ingredients on your skin before, you may develop a little bit of sensitivity to start. That's very temporary. Let me know, and I will help you adjust things, because we don't want people to be like, oh, just suffer through it. You know, nobody would want to do that. They'll end up stopping. How many people do you know have tretinoin cream thrown under their sink? You know, it's we want it to be a tolerable process for them as their skin gains, you know, some more tolerability basically with products.
Yeah, absolutely. And you tell them what to expect, then you know, they'll be ready.
They're not going to freak out.
Yeah.
Patients do it. And that's where I always also tell people, I guess, estheticians, don't take things personally. If someone thinks like they're not trying to offend you, if they think that you gave them the wrong thing or insult you, is most of the time they're really just freaking out because they don't know this industry like we do. So it's up to us to kind of coddle people and baby them and pat them on the back and be like, don't worry, this is normal. You know, a lot of times people just need that, and that's okay too.
Yeah. And that's again a selling point too, is these massive, you know, the bigger companies that have their products that's being sold in Walgreens and Walmart, and even some Sephora's and Ulta's, they can't have these level of actives because of the reactions. And so, you know, if somebody goes into Ulta and they go buy a retinol cream that's our strength, and they go home, they start using it, they get the flaking, they get the little irritability, you know, then they're freaking out thinking like, what's going on in my skin? This product is defective. So they go and they return it, not knowing that that's the natural order of things. That's how it's supposed to happen. So that's why you have to have the guidance by a professional to use these level of actives. So, you know, they literally can't be in these stores. They did too active. They're going to get too many returns. It's too much of a headache. So they're just banking on pure marketing scamming.
And there are some products, I mean, there are some things that are fine and fun to get. Some are just really emollient, and some people just like that. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, as far as a high amount of actives for major correction, you know, that's where you'll want to kind of allocate your money, you know, and tell your clients that, because, you know, there's some products that are great enough for teenagers that maybe just, you know, or if you don't have any correction, you know, and you just like something really, the smell of something, it's not going to like harm anything, you know, it's just, I mean, well, except could clog your pores, make you break out or whatnot, but it's not going to like, you know, there are plenty of people I have that are like, I love my Tatcha cream of this or that. I'm like, fine, mix your vitamin A in there because there's no other active ingredient. You know, so and then eventually people will come over to the whole line. So, but yeah, that's Victoria's exactly right. Like there's legalities too. You know, legally, you cannot say certain verbiage or say things or have certain regulations on products that are sold or that are not sold to professionals. And, you know, like with a certain skincare, you have to have a medical director on site in order to have certain skincare too, you know, back bar peels, double exfoliation, triple exfoliation, again, know your state laws and abide, you know, but definitely Dermadality, there is corrective repair and maintenance for every state, every office, every client, really, between all the stuff.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good here. So I don't know if if you guys could hear me rambling when I was on mute or whatever, but we'll send this follow-up video or email with the basic guidelines and the protocols and the show deals and the virtual manual. And we'll also send an advanced post-care treatment plan too. So you guys can have that. And there's like a little part where you guys can have your client sign off just so they know, you know, this is what I'm telling you to do. Whether you do it or not is not my fault. You've signed off. Always protect yourself in any way you can. So we'll send you all that. And yeah, hope to see you guys signing up for these advanced Zoom courses once they are listed on the website.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for your patience with us as we are, updating things. So please never hesitate to reach out and ask any question you want. Nothing is an embarrassing question because chances are lots of other people have it too. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thanks so much for joining, guys.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your
Thank
week.
you.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. You gotta stop recording and make sure that I think once you stop recording it, it uploads.
Okay, you're gonna laugh at me. Oh, there we go.